A tea, my 7-year-old daughter's birthday party. My sister suddenly smashed a cake into her face. Happy birthday, surprise, she shouted. My mother laughed out loud. That the tea was hilarious. My daughter stood still, covered in frosting. Then she looked at me and said, Mom, can I show them the present now? Their smiles froze in an instant. The autumn morning in Cambridge, Massachusetts was cold. Amanda Brown pressed the button on the kitchen coffee maker and hurriedly took yogurt out of the refrigerator. The clock showed 7:15. She needed to arrive at the lab by 8:30. Emily, are you up? There was no answer from upstairs. Amanda ran up the stairs and knocked on her daughter's door. In the small room surrounded by pale purple walls, Emily was still curled up in bed. The morning sunlight streaming through a gap in the curtains was turning her chestnut hair golden. Come on, it's time to get up. Don't you have a spelling test at school today? Emily opened her eyes and sat up, yawning. The 7-year-old girl had brown eyes just like her mother's. Mom, how many days until my birthday? Amanda smiled. 5 more days. It's on Saturday. Have you decided what you want for a present? Emily jumped out of her blanket and took a folded piece of paper from her drawer. It had birthday list written on it in childish handwriting. This. I especially want a new microscope, like the one Dad used. Those words pained Amanda's heart. It had been 3 years since David suddenly left this world from a heart attack. He had been a biology professor at the university, and on weekends he would sit Emily on his knee and talk about the world of tiny creatures seen through the microscope. Emily had been only 4 years old when her father died, and didn't fully understand his death. Can you imagine making $10,000 a month just from YouTube, all from home? That's exactly what I did with Reddit stories. No face, no voice. Check the link in the description if you're curious. But she seemed to feel his absence every day. I'll think about it, Amanda promised. Now, hurry and get ready, breakfast is waiting. 30 minutes later, Amanda dropped Emily off at the school bus stop and headed to the research institute. She worked as a leader in new drug development at a pharmaceutical company. The work was demanding and sometimes went late into the night, but as a single mother, she was always careful with time management to cherish moments with her daughter. When she arrived at the institute, there was a message from her mother in her mailbox. Amanda, how are the preparations for Emily's birthday party coming along? Vanessa and I will help. Let's discuss details tomorrow. Lunch? Mom. Amanda sighed. Her mother Harriet had been successful in the local real estate business. She always maintained a perfect appearance and was well known in social circles. However, her relationship with Amanda was complicated. Harriet constantly interfered with Amanda's life choices and had particularly opposed her marriage to David. That academic has no future, she remembered being told repeatedly. Ironically, David's parents had left considerable assets for David and Emily before they passed away. Amanda's sister Vanessa was another issue. She had failed repeatedly in relationships, had no stable career, and frequently changed jobs. While pretending to support her sister on the surface, she seemed to envy Amanda's stable life. Especially after David's death, Amanda sensed that Vanessa's attitude toward Emily had subtly changed. Emily seemed confused by the alternation between excessive spoiling and occasional cold glances. Lunch at 12:30 is fine, Amanda replied and started her work. That afternoon, Amanda was having coffee with her colleague Jessica, discussing the weekend party. Emily is inviting 5 friends. And my mother and sister say they're coming too. Jessica, an IT security specialist and friend since college days, put down her coffee cup and asked, Your mother and Vanessa are coming? Will that be okay? Amanda shrugged. I don't have a choice. They're Emily's family. How are they doing lately? Jessica asked carefully. Mother is the same as always, but recently, Emily says her grandmother and aunt have been rummaging through her room. They're probably looking for hints about birthday presents, or something else? Jessica's expression turned serious. Amanda, if there's something you're finding difficult to tell me, Amanda took a deep breath. Actually, I feel like Mother is plotting something regarding David's inheritance. She's been excessively worried about Emily's future education costs lately. Says it needs better management. Jessica silently took Amanda's hand. Just in case, let's think of some precautions. Amanda didn't fully understand what Jessica's suggestion meant, but she decided to listen to her friend's concerns. Friday evening, Amanda left work early to return home. She needed to prepare for Emily's birthday party the next day. As she parked, she noticed her mother's bright red Cadillac already parked at the entrance. Amanda frowned. She hadn't told her mother to come this early. Entering the house, she heard voices from the kitchen. Harriet and Vanessa were standing side by side at the counter, mixing something. The two turned around with surprised looks when they heard the front door open. Amanda, you're home already? Harriet's voice was overly bright. It's only 5:30. Vanessa quickly pushed the bowl she was holding into the refrigerator. You almost ruined the surprise, she laughed, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. What are you making? Amanda asked, putting down her bag. The cake for tomorrow, Harriet answered. Vanessa found a special recipe. Emily will love it. Amanda looked at the ingredients scattered around the kitchen. Flour, sugar, eggs, vanilla essence, normal cake ingredients. But in the corner of the counter sat a small unfamiliar bottle. What's that? Just flavoring oil. Vanessa quickly grabbed the bottle and put it in the cabinet. It adds a special flavor to the cake. Amanda was about to say something when the front door opened again and Emily returned from the school bus. Mom, Grandma, Auntie. Emily dropped her backpack on the floor and ran into the kitchen. Harriet immediately embraced Emily and kissed her cheek. My birthday, girl. I can't wait for tomorrow. What are you making? Emily peeked at the counter. It's a surprise, Vanessa answered, gently pushing Emily's shoulder. Go watch TV in the living room. The grown-ups have things to do. Emily seemed a bit disappointed but headed to the living room. After she left, Harriet smiled at Amanda. Why don't you go change? We'll finish up here. All right, Amanda answered slowly. But I was planning to help with the cake. Don't worry, Vanessa interjected. Everything is going according to plan. As Amanda went upstairs, she felt anxiety growing in her chest. Before changing, she quietly checked Emily's room. At first glance, everything looked normal. But the medical information file that should have been on the desk had been slightly moved. Amanda picked up the file and checked the contents. It contained Emily's medical records, vaccination history, and particularly important information, detailed records about her severe nut allergy. Amanda put the file back in its original position and went to her room. While changing, she took out her cell phone and texted Jessica something strange. Mother and sister came early and are hiding something. The reply came immediately. Can you stop by my house tonight? I have something to give you. During dinner, the atmosphere was tense. Harriet and Vanessa behaved overly cheerfully, bombarding Emily with questions about school, friends, and especially what she was most looking forward to at tomorrow's party. The presents, maybe? Vanessa asked. What do you think you'll get? Emily put down her fork and answered with a serious expression. I want a microscope, like the one Dad used. For a moment, silence fell over the table. Well, Harriet broke the silence with a laugh. Wouldn't you prefer something more fun than such a grown-up thing? Like dolls or toys? I like science, Emily quietly asserted. Of course you do, you're so smart, Vanessa said. But tomorrow is just a day to have fun. We have a surprise. Amanda placed her hand on Emily's shoulder. I hear your wish loud and clear, Emily. After dinner, Amanda told Emily, take a bath and get ready for bed. I'm going out for a bit, but I'll be back soon. We'll watch Emily, Harriet offered. Where are you going? To Jessica's house, Amanda answered. She wants to give Emily a present. Your friends are always so peculiar, Harriet pursed her lips. That computer person, right? Amanda left without answering. When she arrived at Jessica's house, her friend invited her in through the back door and sat her at the kitchen table. Here, Jessica offered a small box. Inside was a tiny device. It's an emergency recording device. The latest model. It can record for over 24 hours. If you think something's wrong, just press the button to activate it. Do you really think it's necessary? Amanda asked anxiously. Just in case, Jessica said with a serious expression. Your mother and Vanessa's behavior is too suspicious. And she hesitated for a moment. I talked with Emily too. She said after she came home from school, her grandmother and aunt were snooping around her room. Amanda gasped. What were they looking for? I don't know, but Emily has already taken precautions herself. Jessica smiled slightly. That child is so much like you, smart and observant. What do you mean? Emily has something special she's bringing to the party tomorrow for you. Don't say anything. She says it's a surprise. When Amanda returned home, Emily was already in her pajamas, reading a book in bed. Amanda sat next to her daughter and kissed her forehead. Looking forward to tomorrow? Emily nodded but seemed deep in thought. Mom, can I bring my backpack tomorrow to the party? Why? Because it's a special day, Emily answered simply. I want to keep something important in it. Amanda remembered Jessica's words and nodded. Of course. That night, Amanda couldn't sleep for a long time. She thought about the party the next day and tried to understand the meaning behind her mother and sister's behavior. She finally fell asleep with the small device Jessica had given her placed on her nightstand. Saturday morning was sunny. Emily woke up to the sunlight streaming through the window. She instantly remembered what day it was and jumped out of bed. It's my birthday today. Amanda was already in the kitchen preparing breakfast. When Emily came running down, her mother greeted her with a big smile and a hug. Happy birthday, Emily. 7 years old, you've grown so big. On the table were pancakes with 7 candles. Emily smiled happily and blew them out. Did you make a wish? Amanda asked. Emily nodded with a mature seriousness in her eyes. If I tell you, it won't come true. After breakfast, Amanda began decorating the living room. She adorned it with balloons and colorful paper streamers, and hung a banner that read, Happy Birthday, Emily, above the table. Emily brought her small backpack and sat on the living room sofa, carefully placing it on her lap. What's in that bag? Amanda couldn't contain her curiosity. It's a secret, Emily smiled slightly. But it's something important. At 10 a.m. the doorbell rang. Harriet and Vanessa had arrived. They were carrying a large cake box and several wrapped gifts. Happy birthday, my little angel. Harriet hugged Emily and kissed her cheek. Her sweet perfume enveloped Emily. "Where should I put this cake?" Vanessa asked, walking toward the kitchen. She seemed more tense than yesterday. "Keep it in the refrigerator," Amanda answered. "Don't take it out until the friends arrive." Vanessa showed a slightly troubled expression, but did as told. When she returned from the kitchen, she began whispering something with Harriet. The two frequently checked their cell phones, and occasionally looked in Emily's direction. Just after noon, Emily's friends began to arrive one after another. Lily, Josh, Madison, Carlos, and Sophia. The children exchanged energetic greetings and handed over presents. Emily kept her backpack close by as she began playing happily with her friends. Jessica was the last to arrive. She hugged Amanda and then handed a small box to Emily. "Happy birthday, Emily. Enjoy your special day." Emily gave Jessica a meaningful smile. Amanda, observing this interaction, sensed that the two shared some secret. The party progressed smoothly. The children played games and laughter echoed throughout the house. Harriet and Vanessa helped with the party, but they frequently checked the time. Their tension seemed to increase, especially as the time for presents approached. "Time for presents," Amanda finally announced. Emily sat on the sofa and received gifts one by one from her friends, carefully opening the wrapping paper. From Lily was a drawing set, from Josh a science book, from Madison a poster of constellations, from Carlos a puzzle, and from Sophia a handmade bracelet. Jessica's present was a small digital camera. "You can take lots of memories," Jessica told Emily with a meaningful smile. Finally, a large box was handed over from Harriet and Vanessa. Emily carefully opened it and took out a luxurious Barbie doll set. "Thank you, Grandma, Auntie," she said politely, but there was a hint of disappointment in her voice. "It's not a microscope, but what do you think? Do you like it?" Vanessa asked. Emily forced a smile. "Yes, it's beautiful." Finally, Amanda stepped forward and handed a long box to her daughter. "This is my present to you." Emily opened the box and her eyes widened. Inside was a genuine child's microscope set. "It's like Dad's microscope," she exclaimed with joy and jumped into Amanda's arms. "Thank you, Mom." Harriet's expression clouded. "A microscope? Is that really an appropriate gift for a 7-year-old girl?" "It's what Emily wanted," Amanda replied firmly. After a tense moment passed, Amanda changed the subject. "Now, it's time for cake." Harriet and Vanessa quickly exchanged glances and headed to the kitchen. The two whispered to each other in the kitchen for a while, then returned with a large chocolate cake. 7 candles gleamed on top of the cake. "Everyone, gather around the table," Amanda called the children. Emily sat in the chair in front of the table, and her friends gathered around her. Amanda prepared the camera as Harriet and Vanessa placed the cake in front of her. "Happy birthday to you." Everyone joined in as Amanda began singing. Emily stared at the candles, flames reflecting in her eyes. When the song ended, she took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and was about to make a wish. That's when it happened. Vanessa suddenly stepped forward, shouted surprise, and pushed the cake into Emily's face. The room fell silent for a moment. Emily's face was covered with chocolate cream. Pieces of cake were sticking to her hair and clothes. "Happy birthday, surprise!" Vanessa laughed loudly. "This is hilarious," Harriet joined in, starting to take photos with her phone. "I have to put this on social media, the best moment of my granddaughter's 7th birthday party." Amanda was frozen in shock. Emily's friends also stood still with confused expressions, and some children's eyes were wide with fear. Jessica immediately stood next to Amanda and gripped her arm tightly. "Emily, are you okay?" Amanda finally managed to say. Emily didn't move. She didn't even try to wipe the cake from her face, just stood there. Her calm eyes peered through the layer of chocolate. She slowly raised her face and looked at Amanda. In her eyes was not fear but a strange calmness. "Mom, can I take out that present now?" Emily's voice was surprisingly composed. Amanda didn't understand immediately, but realized Emily was pointing to her backpack. She nodded. Harriet and Vanessa's smiles froze. The two suddenly began to realize something was wrong. "Emily, wipe your face." "That's enough," Harriet said commandingly. But there was anxiety in her voice. Emily slowly reached for her backpack and took out a small tablet. "Look, everyone, a special present that Grandma and Auntie gave me," she said quietly. When she turned on the tablet screen, an image of the kitchen appeared. It showed a scene from the previous day. Harriet and Vanessa were clearly shown mixing something into the cake mix in the kitchen. "I saw Emily's allergy information." Harriet's voice could be heard from the video. "A small amount of nut oil shouldn't cause an immediate reaction. The effects should appear after the party is over." "Are all the procedures for reclaiming the rest of David's inheritance complete?" Vanessa asked. "Of course," Harriet answered. "The lawyer is on our side. If we get custody of Emily, everything becomes ours." The video continued, switching to another scene. This time it showed Harriet and Vanessa talking in the living room. "Amanda is in the way," Harriet said. "If we take in Emily, the inheritance management rights transfer to us. We'll get all the assets David's parents left too. But Amanda won't agree. That's why we don't give her a choice. If Emily's allergic reaction becomes severe, it can be sued as Amanda's neglect. If we offer to take care of her instead, the court will agree. The room was engulfed in complete silence. Shock and horror were visible on the guests' faces, and Harriet and Vanessa had turned pale. Emily stood with her cake-covered face, just holding the tablet. Emily. Amanda called her daughter's name with a trembling voice. Emily finally smiled a little. It's okay, Mom, I didn't eat the cake, because I saw Grandma and Auntie doing suspicious things. Emily, Amanda's voice was shaking. Let's go to the bathroom right away. Amanda took her daughter's hand and led Emily, with her cake-covered face, to the bathroom. Meanwhile, a heavy silence remained in the living room. The guests were frozen in confusion and fear, and the children looked up at their parents, unable to understand what was happening. Jessica acted immediately. She picked up the tablet Emily had left behind and backed up the video to ensure it wouldn't be deleted. Then she quietly took out her phone and called 911. There's no need to call the police, Harriet shouted. This is a family matter. It's a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? Jessica coldly retorted. You intentionally tried to give a 7-year-old child an allergen. That's attempted murder with indirect intent. Vanessa collapsed into a chair and covered her face with her hands. She lost her words. Harriet changed her attitude, showing her anger. This has nothing to do with you. This is a Brown family matter. David should never have married my daughter. That man never matched our social status from the beginning. In the bathroom, Amanda was gently washing the cake off Emily's face. Her hands were shaking, but her movements were careful. It's okay, Emily. Does anything hurt? Are you having trouble breathing? Amanda asked, carefully observing her daughter's skin, checking for any signs of an allergic reaction to nuts. Emily shook her head. I'm fine, Mom. I didn't put the cake in my mouth. I knew Grandma and Auntie were doing something strange. Amanda was deeply grateful for her daughter's intelligence. How did you know? And that video? I saw Grandma and Auntie coming into my room, opening drawers, and looking at my medical files, Emily explained. So I told Aunt Jessica, and she gave me this tablet and camera. She pointed to a small camera. It was a mini camera disguised as a hair clip. Jessica. Amanda stumbled over her words. She knew. Emily nodded. When I came home from school and told her Grandma and Auntie were acting weird, Aunt Jessica helped me. She taught me how to use the camera too. Amanda took a deep breath. You're such a smart child, Emily. But it was very dangerous. Dad used to say, Emily quietly answered, always think about protecting yourself. And if something seems wrong, ask a trusted person for help. Tears welled up in Amanda's eyes. David's teachings had saved them now. When they returned to the living room, 2 police officers had already arrived. Jessica was showing them the tablet video, and the other parents had taken their children to the kitchen, keeping them away from the situation. Mrs. Brown, one officer approached Amanda. Is your daughter okay? She might need a medical check. No symptoms so far, Amanda answered. She didn't eat the cake. The other officer was handcuffing Harriet and Vanessa. Harriet's face was red with anger, but Vanessa had completely broken down and was sobbing. This is a misunderstanding, Harriet shouted. We would never put our granddaughter in danger. You can make that claim in court, the officer replied coldly. Ms. McFarland and Ms. Brown, you are under arrest on suspicion of deliberately endangering a minor. We will also investigate the attempted inheritance fraud. We have rights too. Harriet continued to resist. David's inheritance concerns us as well. Mom, that's enough, Vanessa said in a trembling voice. It's over. The officers led Harriet and Vanessa outside. Paramedics also arrived and checked Emily's health condition. Technicians collected samples of the cake to take back for laboratory analysis. The party guests began to leave one after another. Parents offered Amanda words of sympathy and support, and praised Emily for being brave. The children, though confused, said gentle goodbyes to Emily. Jessica was the last to remain. She made tea in the kitchen and spoke quietly with Amanda and Emily. I'm glad I contacted you, Amanda said, holding Jessica's hand. How did Emily know she was in danger? She called me, Jessica answered. From your cell phone. She said Grandma and Auntie are doing strange things. I'm scared. I was hiding behind Dad's picture, Emily explained. They were looking at my medical file and saying, this will make our plan work, so I suggested setting up surveillance cameras for Emily. Jessica continued. My IT skills came in handy, and I was really surprised that Emily could set it up herself. I remembered Dad's computer lessons. Emily smiled slightly. Amanda hugged her daughter. You were really brave. But why didn't you tell me? Emily thought for a moment before answering. I thought you would be sad. Grandma is your mother, right? So I thought we needed evidence. Amanda's heart ached. A 7-year-old child trying to protect her mother's feelings. After David's death, Emily had been sensitively aware of how much she had suffered. What do we do next? Emily quietly asked. First, we'll hold a proper birthday party for you, Amanda answered with determination. And then, we'll continue our lives, just without Harriet and Vanessa this time. Late that night, after Emily had gone to sleep, Amanda and Jessica sat in the living room drinking wine. The remnants of the destroyed party were scattered around. I still can't believe it, Amanda said, turning her glass. My mother, and my sister too, why? Greed and jealousy? Jessica answered. According to the police, the trust fund David's parents left is quite substantial. Harriet probably wanted to control it. It's ironic. Amanda smiled bitterly. Mother always looked down on David's family, but in the end she wanted his family's money. And she was probably jealous of your success too? Jessica asked. You've succeeded as a researcher, raised a wonderful daughter, and lead an independent life. Vanessa didn't have that. Amanda nodded. Mother always made us compete, but I never imagined it would end like this. What will you do now? Jessica gently asked. Move forward, Amanda answered with determination. For Emily. And for myself. Outside the window, the moon shone quietly. The terrible day had ended, and a night of new beginnings had arrived. Amanda gazed at David's photograph and smiled faintly. She and Emily had become truly free in the real sense. Emily, are you ready? Amanda called from the kitchen. Spring sunlight streaming through the window illuminated the surface of the new dining table. A year had passed since the incident, and Amanda and Emily had moved to a small house in the suburbs. Bright paintings adorned the walls, and houseplants flourished near the windows. Almost. The voice of 8-year-old Emily echoed from upstairs. Amanda smiled as she finished the final decorations on the cake. The cake, covered with chocolate icing, had "Happy Birthday Emily" written on it, and 8 candles standing. 1 year since last year's nightmare birthday. This year, she intended to make it a day of true celebration. The doorbell rang, and when Amanda opened it, Jessica was standing there holding a large package. The two embraced, and Jessica entered the living room. Over the past year, she had become like family to Amanda and Emily, not just a friend. How's Emily? Jessica asked in a low voice. Incredibly well, Amanda answered proudly. Even the psychologist is amazed. Emily's resilience is truly remarkable. Emily came running down the stairs. She had grown a bit taller than last year, and her hair was longer. She jumped at Jessica and hugged her. Auntie, you came. I wouldn't miss your birthday, Jessica answered with a laugh. This is your present. Open it. Emily opened the present, and her eyes sparkled at the Advanced Children's Science Kit. Wow, I can do experiments with this. Thank you. In the afternoon, several new friends arrived. The party progressed in a warm atmosphere, with children's laughter echoing throughout the house. Amanda watched her daughter from a distance. Thinking about last year, today's peaceful scene seemed like a dream. The trial had ended 3 months ago. Harriet had received a 20-year prison sentence for attempted murder and fraud. She never admitted her guilt, and continued to blame Amanda and Emily until the end. Vanessa, on the other hand, confessed early, and had her sentence reduced to 10 years for cooperating with the prosecution. Furthermore, surprisingly, a new investigation into David's death revealed evidence that his medication had been tampered with. It was only a matter of time before murder would be added to Harriet's charges. What are you thinking about? Jessica stood next to Amanda and quietly asked. How much life has changed, Amanda answered calmly. Sometimes I still can't believe my mother and sister would do such a thing. But you're moving forward, Jessica placed her hand on her shoulder. Emily is well, and your new house is lovely. Yes, Amanda nodded. With David's inheritance being managed, Emily's future is financially secure. I've also been promoted at the Research Institute. Most importantly, Jessica added, you two have become a real family, a relationship without secrets or lies. Amanda looked at her daughter and was filled with pride and love. Emily stood in front of the cake staring at the candle flames. Now, make a wish, Amanda called out. Emily closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and blew out the candles. As everyone applauded, Amanda approached her daughter. What did you wish for? Emily looked up at her mother and answered with a radiant expression. To be a family that doesn't need any more secrets. Amanda hugged her daughter and kissed her hair. We already are. Outside the window, the spring breeze gently swayed the trees, announcing the arrival of a new season. Amanda and Emily's new life was just beginning to bud.